So, yeah, so we were at this Serendipity Arts Festival in Goa last week, and it was a very, very wonderful, mind blowing event. Such a beautiful. So, the way they do it, the multiple venues all over the city in Panjim, multiple venues, they have different art events going on simultaneously. So there are plays, there's theater, there's music, there's dance, there's painting, there is sculpting, somebody working with paints and colors, and somebody working with other things, and and it's going on simultaneously everywhere, like 10 or 12 different locations all day long for 6 days. So and it was just unbelievable. And then they have shuttle buses that go from venue to venue, so you can just hop on and hop off for free on any of those shuttles. And um, and uh, so it was a lot of fun, and so the one of the performance was a what is known as chow. Chow is a form of dance, uh, I believe from Odisha, maybe. I'm not sure. But Chow, it's a combination of martial arts and I think Manipuri. So things like that. So very, very wonderful dance form. And and the best part of it was that same choreographer, Santosh Nair, who choreographed that particular episode of Mahabharat in the Chow way. So Santosh Nair conducted a workshop on the next day for anyone who wanted to just get introduced to contemporary dance and all that. So of course, if I didn't know about it, we happened to go to that place, and they said, "There's a work. Are you here for the workshop?" And of course, I said yes, and joined the workshop. And Harsha and I just really had a great time. And and so in the middle of one of the sequence, he was asking people to improvise and do things on their own. Of course, I mean, the rest of the crowd was half my age, but I was still somehow managing to go along, and it's amazing the energy of dance and energy of the group and all that. I mean, uh, my knees have been hurting a little bit because I injured it playing tennis, but during the dance, I was rolling onto the floor and off the floor and getting up and doing all this stuff, and I didn't even know how it all was happening. But in the middle of all that, he asked me to improvise and everyone was following. And then he asked me, "So are you into dance?" And I said, "No, I'm not into dance." But he said, "Well, but I said, I'm into theater and I'm also uh, into nothingness." So I said, "I'm into nothingness." So he said, "That's why, because you're into nothingness, you're able to dance like this, because all you need to do to be able to dance is to let go of yourself. And if you let go of yourself, dance takes over, and the body just moves as per the divine." So so it was nice. It was very amazing. And speaking about the body moving to the will of the divine, let me share with you a clip from today's event. Let's see. So,
कच्ची सोनल है हमारा वीडियो लेने वाला सोनल
yeah. So, here, I should share the screen, share the sound. Yeah, the video was all recording by Sonal. So here it is.
Okay, this has to go off the next page. Okay.
No, this is not the one. This is the one, I think.
ये नाम गीता है और मैं गोपाल की सहेली हूँ और मुझे मुझे भी पता चल गया है कि वो जो शक्ति है जो मेरा ये शरीर को ताली बजवाती है, नमस्ते करवाती है, मेरा मैं देखती हूँ, सुनती हूँ और मुझे भी चलाने वाला कोई और है। Thank you. I also speak very good English, by the way. Don't go on my clothes, okay? तैयार है हिंट लेने के लिए? ये पूछ रहे हैं ये कौन है जो एक है, ये कौन है जो एक है? तो मुझे तो पता चल गया है और मैं सबको आपको भी बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये मैं ताली बजाता हूँ, मेरा शरीर हिलाता हूँ, मैं ऐसे गाता हूँ, बोलता हूँ, देखता हूँ, सुनता हूँ, खाता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे चलाने वाला कोई और है। ये इधर है। तो आपका भी देखिए, आप सबने कहा कि मैंने शरीर हिलाया है, वो शरीर हिलाने वाली शक्ति, वो ऊर्जा, वो कौन है जो सब कुछ ये कर रहा है? अपने आप को ये पूछिए तो आपको ये जो साहब पूछ रहे हैं उसका जवाब जरूर मिल जाएगा। थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
So, so this kind of fun.
क्या बात है बढ़िया बढ़िया एक नंबर
Bilkul.
oneness is number one.
Oneness is number one, and to explain oneness in this fun, easy way, that is the new thing that we are bringing to the world.
Yeah, that is number one idea.
Yeah. So I don't know, everyone saw it or not. The this
We not only saw, we enjoyed.
you enjoyed. मेरे को एक सवाल आया लेकिन ये वीडियो देखते देखते, ये कैमरा हिलाने वाला कौन है?
वो बोल रहा है तो वो बोला, आपने ऐसा पूछा तो वो बोला दुनिया हिलाकर रख दूंगा।
दुनिया राइट।
मैं वो हूं जो दुनिया हिला सकता
तो
हूं।
हिला सकता हूँ। तो कैमरा क्या चीज है?
हाँ,
वो क्या गाना है? मैं दुनिया भुला दूं, उसको चेंज करते हैं ना, मैं
क्या बात।
दुनिया हिला दूंगा तेरी चाहत में।
वाह वाह वाह।
वाह, वो ऐसी है। So anyway, so Sonia is here. Hi Sonia. Sonia was our host in Goa. So I was just sharing about the Serendipity Art Festival, and especially about this one particular play. I mean, Sonia, I told you this whole story, but I wanted to share with everyone. So ये एक बहुत ही यूनिक एक प्ले हमने देखा उधर, which was on the last day. So the interesting thing was कि the name of the play was the Money Opera. Opera जो होता है ना वैसे गाते हैं, ओ रो 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 रो, वैसा वाला. So this guy was singing an opera about money. So it was a whole city where money is the king, money is ruling everybody's lives. ऐसा, that was the central theme. But the unique thing about the play was how it was presented. The play was presented in not in a normal theater. It was in an abandoned building. So, एक abandoned building which was under construction and partly finished. वो building के अंदर ये play पूरा enact किया इन्होंने. और ये वैसा था कि अलग अलग, there were 3 floors and 1 terrace. So on the 3 floors, there were performances going on. On each floor, there were like 2 or 3 rooms, not finished, unfinished, complete, like, concrete slab dikh raha hai, bricks dikh rahe hai, khidkiyan nahi hai, kuch nahi hai. And in that room, there is some character enacting their life story. And then on the same floor, there is another person enacting their life story. And like this. And the second floor, there's somebody else, and then like that. And you could go to any floor, any room in any order that you wanted. So the audience was about maybe 100, 120 people. And you could split up and go and watch any of the scenes at any time, and in any sequence also. And after you were finished with all of them, they coordinated such that everybody then met on the terrace. And then the terrace was the finale. So on the terrace was this character. So the different characters had very अलग अलग कहानियाँ थी लोगों की. एक कोई वो लावणी वगैरह करने वाली एक नर्तिका थी, और एक आर्किटेक्ट थी जो अपने मेमोरीज के बारे में वो मॉडल के द्वारा बता रही थी. लाइक दैट, इट वाज वेरी 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 डिफरेंट. And maybe I can share some pictures. Did I? Yeah, I can share some pictures from that place.
भुला दूंगा तेरी.
So let me see, share this. And oh, while I'm sharing this, let me share you pictures of my 6 grandkids. So this is क्या हो गया इसको? हाँ, this is from 25th December, 2 days ago. And wait, and then right? And why, I don't know why it goes off like this. But anyway, you see, this is from last year, this is from this year. Anyway, back to the play. So this was the building. This is the audience going around in different places, just walking around and seeing different parts of the play in different room. These are part of the characters. And this guy was the main character who we met finally on the terrace. And this is that वो उसका कमरा था, वो जो क्या बोलते हैं, लावणी वगैरह करती है वैसी. फिर ये आर्किटेक्ट जो अपनी कहानी सुना रही थी, उसका घर जा, उसकी मेमोरीज सब बता रही थी. दिस शी वाज. सो द एक्टर इज राइट देयर, द ऑडियंस इज राइट देयर. ऐसा नहीं कि हम you're sitting in a chair and just watching a play. You feel like you're actually part of the whole thing, because the actor and the audience are just like part of one scene in the room. And this was another character. She was a tribal girl who was sharing her story about the rivers and the mountains and her life story and so on. Very intense stories, all different stories. And this was another lady in another room talking about her mad life. She just stays in bed all day. वैसे उसकी कहानी थी, but interesting story about her life. And great acting. And again, the audience becomes part of the room and part of the scene, sort of. And then the last scene was this character on the terrace. So interesting thing about this particular guy, I'll just show you this is the final scene, and this was the opera singer. And here you can maybe hear a little bit of it. These are all the characters again on the final scene.
The ocean bed, where no lights, no air reaches, where you learn to live with more.
Anyway, so the last जो scene था, that was the interesting character. I mean, all of the characters. It was Hindi, English, mostly Hindi. ये एक song जो था, वो main theme song was in English. But the last character had a very interesting life story. So he and how it relates to what we talk about, but in a very different kind of dark sort of way. Um, so he he was a kind of a short banda tha जो स्कूल में very weak and nobody would pay any attention to him. He was like a nothing, nobody. And then he found out that he was good at video games. And so he was so good at video games that in the video game world, he was uh, yeah, so he was very, very sought after, very popular and very powerful in the video world. But he realized कि वो video world में he is very powerful, but as soon as he turns off the video and comes back to earth, and to real life, to normal reality, um, as soon as he comes back to normal reality, he is again back to being a nobody. So then he says कि मुझे ऐसी ज़िंदगी नहीं चाहिए, मुझे ऐसा होना है जहाँ पे मेरे होने से कुछ फ़र्क पड़ता है. So what he starts is a game, a real life game. Instead of a video game, he starts a life game in which he rewards people for some task. Small reward देके और ये reward के psychology use करके basically he got a big following of people who would do whatever task he would assign to them. Alag task. So if one day he wants to experience anger, then he would assign some task which would be an expression of anger. And through all those hundreds and thousands of people who were his followers, he would experience anger in a not just within himself, but multiplied by 100 or 1,000 or 3,000. Which is kind of like what this reality also is, where the experiencer of your life, of my life, there is only one experiencer. Even though the experience happens through this body, through these different names and through these different uh, 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 through these different instruments, the experiencer of this is only one. So yeah, you can turn on videos, anyone who's here. Everyone, I was asking everyone to turn on videos and be here with me when your videos are on. So so it is kind of like अपनी जो reality है वो भी कुछ उसी तरह से है, that the experiencer, there is only the I. The I is the only experiencer of all that there is, in different forms. Through some form experiencing poverty, through another form experiencing wealth, through another form experiencing joy, through another form experiencing sorrow, grief, anger. I mean, through the billions of instruments sort of these virtual reality, ये जो divine energy है, सारे अनुभव एक साथ अलग अलग, beyond even our imagination in this form, infinite forms, infinite ways of experiencing reality simultaneously हो रहा है. So this person, that character, created this game in which he is sort of playing God to his followers, where he gives them a task and they do that task, and through their experiences, indirectly he gets to experience whatever their experiences were. And of course, being not really grounded, not really connected with open door, and not really understanding what non-duality means and what all this is, this person gets more and more and more it's like a drug. So मतलब नशा जो होता है, तो पहली बार जब थोड़ी सी जो भी चीज़ है उससे नशा बहुत मिलता है, लेकिन जैसे समय चला जाता है, देन उसी नशे के लिए और क्वांटिटी और इंटेंसिटी की ज़रूरत पड़ने लगती है. So finally, this person gets so bored with his game, even with this big game that he's playing with thousands of people. He feels he has to increase the intensity of that game, and decides that he wants to the ultimate experience of life, which is the experience of death, and that he wants to experience death through thousands of people. एंड बेसिकली वो जो लास्ट टेरेस वाला सीन था, वो जो कैरेक्टर है वो लास्ट में ही जस्ट जंप्स ऑफ द वॉल एंड जंप्स ऑफ द टेरेस, प्रिज्यूमेबली टू द ग्राउंड, बट ऑफ कोर्स इट वाज ओनली अ प्ले. तो वहाँ कुछ प्रॉप रखा होगा वेर ही कुड सेव हिमसेल्फ, सो ऑब्वियसली ही वाज सेफ. बट इन द प्ले ही जस्ट जंप्स ऑफ एंड डाइज, and presumably all his followers do the same thing, and that was the end of the play. So, very, very, very intense and very novel way of presenting. It was just mind blowing, mind blowing. But what struck me about it was this last character, जो कि which is closest to what you and I experience in this life, in reality itself, where the divine experiencer of all that there is the only one who is experiencing anything. And we make the mistake of thinking that I'm experiencing something. Whereas this I, this little I, this eyes, this body, this brain is only the equipment through which the experiencer, which is only one experiencer, the dreamer of this dream called life, is experiencing all of these dreams. So wonderful. So this, ये बातें जो है, ये knowledge जो है, this understanding. See, this particular character, of course, took it to the dark side without the proper, complete understanding of what reality is. They took it to the extreme where he ended up killing himself and presumably hundreds of other people along with him. But the proper understanding of this is what is known as the Jivan Mukta state, where you are free of this life while you are still alive, being in that state of being a Jivan Mukta. And how to be in that state is what this whole quest, this whole knowledge, this whole understanding is about. And that once we understand this, then all the challenges, so-called challenges and problems that we face become very, 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 very manageable and very, very easy to manage. And so this is what we wanted to bring to all the children, all the students, all the colleges. So we are going to post this write-up about this oneness initiation for children and youth. So I want all of you to take this forward to any institute, any college, anywhere in the world actually, and bring this to them, because the kids today are facing so many challenges, whether it's exams or it is career or it is relationships or with drugs and with gadgets and mobile phones and all of this stuff. So ये जो challenges है, it all becomes very, very easy to understand and resolve when you understand who you really are, कि आपकी असलियत क्या है, आप कौन है, आप क्या है, आप जान लेते हैं, तब ये सारी बातें अपने आप सुलझती है, अपने आप आसान हो जाती है. So we need to continuously remind ourselves, क्योंकि ये जो भूलना हम सीख गए हैं, we have learned how to forget. Ever since we are born, we have learned how to forget who we really are. This is what we have learned from the day we are born. And the more we grow older, the more pakka this lesson becomes. Forget who you are, forget who you are. You are Sanjiv, you are Pandeji, you are Sonia, you are Shukresh, you are this, you are this, you are this, you are not that. This is the lesson we have been drilling into our heads, and society has been for years and years. So, to come out of that, we need to learn the opposite lesson of who you really are and remind yourself of who you really are. I read one title on a YouTube video, Aj. I forget who it was or what, but just the title caught my eye. And it said, spend just one full day remembering nothing but who you are. Just one day. If you remember, if you can do this for even one day, where you are completely absorbed in knowing who you are, whether you want to call it God absorption or whatever works for you, awareness, consciousness, God, Krishna, Jesus, Allah, whatever it is. If you can spend one day in that, then your life can be transformed. And whether we spend that one day or not, all through life, continuously reminding ourselves to remember, reminding ourselves to remember. This is the way to be in that Jivan Mukta state. And Sonal and Jennifer ji were there today at this event, so I wanted them to share a little bit about their experience of this event. There were about 225 or so students who were who we delivered this message of oneness. And so yeah, go ahead, Sonal or Jennifer ji, who wants to go first.
So we started the event at sharp 2:30, and the best part is the girls, it was an only girls' college. And Sanjivji, you know how charged up he gets. But 10 times more the charging was in the girls. The girls were so charged up and so enthusiastic, and they would clap at everything Sanjivji did, and responding so well to all the questions. The children sometimes really surprise us. Like the answers we get from them, what is that I? How do you experience I? So the answers we get from them is really like, my God, we think that they will not understand, but they are the ones who really understand better than us, because they don't have clutter in them. And they are the one who's more accepting everything and trying to learn and looking forward for everything. So it was wonderful. And
Great.
they were,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. And they were so, they understood completely that I am I and you are I. And I'm serving I. And everybody is I. And everybody's I is one. So that concept, they understood. They understood. And they were singing along with Sanjivji, all the songs, and clapping and full participation. They did full participation, which was very beautiful to see that energy.
Great. Yes, indeed. Sonal, anything from you? What did you learn? What did you see? Because as you know, I learn something new every time I present this to students. I learned something new today, a lot of things. But that is what we have also got to look at. It is not just a exercise in passing on the message, that every time we pass on this message of oneness, there is something that happens to the transmitter also, and whoever is there in listening. So go ahead.
Sir, this was my first experience with the offline,
Right.
because I've been always with
In
you
person.
in online.
Yeah, except at the retreat.
At Dehri Ashram.
Dehri nahi, apna hidden oasis.
हाँ, hidden oasis में तो थे,
Right.
लेकिन with so many students, the energy
Right.
level was absolutely wonderful.
Correct, correct, correct.
And
Right.
the way Sanjivji was explaining in a very simple language. So I used to always say shortcut में बताओ, shortcut में बताओ. So today I first time realized कि shortcut क्या होता है.
या एब्सोल्युटली, क्योंकि बच्चों को लंबी चौड़ी कहानी सुनाने का उनको फुर्सत ही नहीं है, वो उनको बैठेगा भी नहीं, बोर हो जाएंगे, तो उनको
I was
शॉर्टकट में ही बताना है.
behind and कैमरा थे, तो वो लोग को जो समझ में आ रहा था, I was really wondering कितना फटाफट पिकअप, कितना ग्रास्पिंग पावर कितना अच्छा था.
एब्सोल्युटली, एब्सोल्युटली.
And
सो
it was in
वन
a
थिंग,
very
या
simple
गो अहेड.
language which I also understood.
यू
I
आल्सो
became a
अंडरस्टूड.
small child. I became a small child.
करेक्ट, करेक्ट, करेक्ट.
वाह वाह वाह, क्या बात है. ये तो
ब्यूटीफुल.
एक्सपीरियंसेस जो है, कहते हैं ना कि हाथ कंगन को आरसी क्या, पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या, एक कहावत है हिंदी में.
हाँ, क्या बोलते हैं?
आरसी का मतलब होता है आईना.
आईना.
हाथ कंगन को आरसी क्या, कंगन पहले महिलाएं जो पहनती थी, वो
हाँ,
लाख का बना होता था, उसमें
हाँ,
कुछ
हाँ.
कांच वांच लगे रहते हैं,
करेक्ट.
मिरर के पीस लगे रहते हैं.
हाँ.
तो बोले जिसके हाथ में कंगन हो, भला उसको आरसी मतलब आईने की क्या जरूरत है. वो
करेक्ट.
10 बार अपना चेहरा जो है, महिलाएं खासतौर पे जो सस्ती धत्ती रहती है ना, वो उसी पे
हाँ,
देख के निहार
देख
लेती
के
है,
निहार ले.
आहा क्या सुंदर लग रही हूं मैं.
उसको आरसी किया.
आरसी
हाँ.
क्या, उसको आईने
करेक्ट.
की क्या जरूरत
क्या
है.
जरूरत है?
तो और ऐसे ही फिर आगे बोला, उस जमाने में जब अनपढ़ लोग हुआ करते थे कि पढ़े लिखे को फारसी क्या, वो फारसी सिखाते थे उस समय, उर्दू के पहले
करेक्ट,
फारसी
करेक्ट,
चलती.
करेक्ट.
तो ऐसे ही हो गया कि आपको देखिए, आप जब बीच में मौजूद हैं संजीव शाह जी, तो फिर क्या जेनिफर में और क्या सोनल मिश्रा, उसको समझने के लिए कोई आईना थोड़ी चाहिए,
बिल्कुल आसानी से समझ गए.
सामने
आसानी
ही
से समझ.
बैठा हुआ है वो आईना.
ब्यूटीफुल, ब्यूटीफुल. So one thing actually, after the thing, we were just chatting and I picked up something from our conversation. So I want to share that with you. Is कि ये जो हम बात करते हैं, मेरी जो असलियत जो है, वो मैं इस पल में कैसे व्यक्त करूं? How can I bring that to this? दैट इज द अल्टीमेट मेडिटेशन. इट्स द इंस्टेंट मेडिटेशन. और जिन लोगों ने नहीं देखा है, हु आर न्यू टू ओपन डोर, प्लीज गो ऑन द यूट्यूब चैनल ऑफ ओपन डोर एंड देर इज अ वीडियो कॉल्ड इंस्टा मेडिटेशन, सॉर्ट ऑफ इंस्टेंट मेडिटेशन. तो वो आप देख सकते हैं. बट इन शॉर्ट आई विल टेल यू व्हाट इट इज. कि all the time asking yourself the question, how can I bring that to this? Into this moment, how can I bring my understanding of the divine? How can I bring that which I truly am? मेरी जो असलियत है, of peace, of love, of truth, of joy, of beauty, of limitlessness, of openness. How can I bring that to this? तो जो भी ये हमने नाम दिया है इसको जीवन योग. So there is Gyan Yoga and Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga, but this is Jivan Yoga. In the process of life itself, in the ordinary process of life, whether you're making dinner or ironing your shirt or having breakfast or having a fight with your spouse, in the middle of that, how to bring this understanding to the table in the middle of that. That is the biggest challenge. And when you can do that on a consistent basis, then that is the way to experience divinity as a Jivan Mukta. So the one insight I wanted to share with you is that while this is good for jab, when things are at least somewhat within your control, or somewhat you are centered, you are grounded. When you are grounded and something happens which is not what you like maybe, then you ask yourself the question, how do I bring that to this? मैं उसके गुण जो मेरे असली गुण है, उन गुणों को इस पल में कैसे शामिल करूं? How do I bring that to this? But what happens when life throws bouncers at you? Sometimes bouncer आते हैं. bouncers come like suddenly. You're not expecting it, and suddenly you're in a state of shock कि इसने ऐसा कैसे कह दिया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ये इसने ऐसा कैसे कह दिया, उतना सोचने का भी समय नहीं मिलता है. वो भी समय नहीं मिलता है, क्योंकि उतना सोचने का अगर समय मिलेगा तो यू कैन इमीजिएटली ब्रिंग दिस क्वेश्चन, हाउ डू आई ब्रिंग दैट टू दिस. बट वो भी नहीं मिलता है टाइम. सो what at that moment what you need is a lifeline. जैसे आप डूब रहे हैं दरिया में, तो वो तैरने की बात, और हम ठीक से तैरेंगे, फास्ट स्विम करेंगे और अच्छी स्ट्रोक लगाएंगे, वो सब टाइम नहीं है आपके पास. यू आर ड्राउनिंग, यू आर कंप्लीटली इन द मिडल ऑफ द ओशन ड्राउनिंग, एंड ऑल यू नीड कैन इज फाइंड अ रोप. दैट्स ऑल यू कैन डू. उतना करना है. Once you have found the rope, you are right, Sonal, lifeline वही है, but how to find that rope in those difficult moments, sudden moments when you have no time to react, no time to think, absolutely no time to meditate, no time to bring yourself back to the center. Then the lifeline that you can use is your own breath. The lifeline is your breath. Your breath is always there. Just train yourself to just go, just like, मतलब डूबता आदमी जैसे तिनका पकड़ता है, वैसे अपनी सांस पे चले जाओ. Just go to your breath. Once you find your breath and you reach your breath and you touch your breath and you're being with your breath, that will give you that precious few seconds in which, rather than just reacting, उसने कुछ ऐसा कह दिया और आप भी डैं करके धूम करके आप भी एक्सप्लोड हो गए, तो वो दोनों एक्सप्लोजन में कोई बचता नहीं है, और आपका जो साधना है, आपकी जो साधना है, वो भी चकनाचूर होके गई. तो उस एक्सप्लोजन, उस धमाके से अगर बचाना है अपने आप को, देन यू नीड दैट प्रेशियस मोमेंट टू टेक दैट पॉज. And the way to find that pause is to go to your breath. Your breath is always there. It may have quickened, it may have become fast, it may have become surprised. See, the breath changes with every emotion. As soon as, when you're surprised, you go, when you're afraid, you go, when you're angry, you go. The breath changes. Breath is your signal. Breath is your lifeline. Breath is your rope to go to when you are in the middle of a crisis. Once you go to your breath, you find that one precious moment. In that precious moment, go to this question. Then you will have time. You will buy yourself time. You will not simply react. You will just go to your breath, center yourself. And now that you have found your breath and been सांस के साथ आप रहे हैं, तो वो जो 2-5 पल मिलेंगे आपको, उसमें अपने आप को पूछ लीजिए कि जो भी मुझे कहना है या करना है, वो कैसे मेरा जो असली स्वरूप है उसके साथ मिला जुला हो, उसके साथ समन्वय हो, उसके साथ हार्मोनाइज्ड हो. How can I bring that to this? But that how can I bring that to this question can only be asked in a moment of relative calm. In the middle of the storm, no chance. In the middle of the storm, just go for this rope, which is your breath. And then you go to that insta meditation question. How do I bring that to this? And there is no fixed answer of how to bring that to this. उस पल में, उस सिचुएशन में आप अपने आप को ये जवाब मिलता जाएगा अपने आप. And then you just go with according to that, and then the whole thing shifts, the whole miracle happens. So this is a new insight that happened today, thanks to a conversation with Jennifer ji. So I wanted to share that quickly with all of you. And Because I was just thinking, take a pause, but taking a pause is not enough. Time ही नहीं है. The mind wants to react, the body wants to react, the voice wants to react, and react with force. So reach for your lifeline, which is always present. 24/7 it is with you, your breath. So be with that, use that, come back to yourself, come back to your true self. First come back to yourself, then come back to your true self, and then operate, act out of that. So that's the insight for today. Any questions on this? समझ रहे हैं? Does it make sense? Yes, Sonia, you have a question? Unmute, please.
I don't have a question. I just have to add something to
Sure,
this.
sure.
So I quite like this breath thing because, as you know, when I get, instigated, first I punch, then I kick, and then I destroy.
Correct.
So my reactions are so instant and has always
yeah,
been.
correct.
So this breath thing is amazing, but with breath, I also practice the pause in the breath and silence, which is really difficult for me because if I see shit, I say, you are shit. If I see a rose, I say, you're a rose. And if you're acting crazy, I said, look, woman, you're acting crazy. But therein comes the silence for a violent person or um, just the way you are,
Right, right.
So for if there is anybody who needs it, then this is one of the bead which goes with the breath,
Right.
because this is what has been very important for me
Exactly.
on this journey. The breath, the pause in the breath, and understanding where you center your energy into your whole core, and
Correct.
then you go into silence, and then it's just a dance which is happening, and they can dance in their dance, and you smile at them and say,
Correct.
look, it's amusing.
Right.
So,
Right.
so yeah, I'm going to see the instant thing because I've not yet gone on the YouTube.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Please check it out. Yeah.
this is amazing. Thanks. Sanjiv.
Welcome. 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 Anyone else? Any other questions or comments? Okay, great. So practice this. Let us talk about next time. We'll talk about ये practice करके. Let us talk about how it worked, whether it worked, how well it worked, or how it didn't work if it didn't work, and then we can see why it didn't work if it didn't work. But breath to silence, like Sonia said, very good. Breath to silence to your true self, and then bringing that true self back out into the game. That's the miracle cycle instead of the vicious cycle. So let's move to a miracle cycle rather than the vicious cycle that life often creates for us. Wonderful. Any other questions or comments? If not, we'll close. Great. हाँ, one liner हम ही करते हैं. Sure. Okay.